Welcome to the next talk in our series, Genesis, the first 3 chapters. In my last talk, I made the point that sin separates. Sinful rebellion against God means that man is separated from God. As Isaiah said in Isaiah 59, your sin has made a separation between you and your God. But sin separates man from his environment. But I want to add to that and say that sin spoils. It's not just a matter of separation, but it spoils God's good creation. In my study, I've got on my shelf some very fine silver goblets. And if they're left to their own devices, they tarnish. That's the natural process. They become discoloured. It's a case of the alloys in the metals reacting with moisture in the air, and that tarnishing effect takes place, and that's the way they look unless they're cleaned up. That is the natural chemical process. What is natural now for humanity is illness, sickness, death, blood, sweat, tears, etc. This is the new normal experience. Death, it has been said, is the ultimate human statistic. 1 out of 1 dies. Even in our youth, we think we're invincible. And throughout our lives, we might spend an awful lot of time and money trying to put off the aging effect. We might even employ a cryogenic agency, in some way trying to offset the inevitable. But the inevitable happens and we succumb. It's a losing battle. Humans were told to procreate, but now the experience of childbirth is a painful process. Men and women were put together as helpmates, but now that relationship is prone to hierarchical dysfunction, with desires and dominance confusingly weaving their way in and out of that union. Humans were given the dignity of work, but after the fall, that work is terribly difficult. Procreation, marriage, work, all good gifts given by God, but now all tarnished by sin's spoiling effects. On a recent visit to a museum, I read a number of notices which said to visitors, urged visitors not to touch the exhibits. And the explanation was this: our hands secrete certain chemicals which damage fragile artifacts. Effectively, you'll cause damage wherever you touch something. Now, that's pretty much an accurate description or summary of the impact of human sin on God's good world. Sin spoils. Very brief today, but I want to think through and discuss the following. Recognize and confess ways in which sin has spoiled relationships or tarnished God's good gifts. But know this, that true repentance will result in God's thorough forgiveness. Thank you for watching, and look out for the next talk in this series, Genesis, the first 3 chapters.